For centuries, the myth of royal immunity has been woven into the very fabric of Europe's oldest monarchy. The idea that a select few, by virtue of birth and bloodline, could stand above the law, untouchable, unassailable, has shaped the destiny of nations and the lives of millions. Today we pull back the velvet curtain and expose the truth behind this myth, revealing how it has endured and how in a single moment it can be shattered. The royal shield, once thought unbreakable, has protected kings and queens, princes and princesses for over 4 centuries. It was a barrier forged not just of law, but of tradition, spectacle and fear. Generations have watched as scandals were hushed, secrets buried, and justice deferred, all in the name of preserving the crown's mystique. But every shield has its weakness, and every era its reckoning. Today, that reckoning has arrived. February 19th, 2026, mark this date, for it will be remembered as the day the world witnessed the fall of untouchable power. The palace gates, once symbols of exclusion and privilege, now stand as silent witnesses to a new chapter in history. Are you prepared to see what happens when the law finally reaches those who believe themselves above it? In the early morning mist, the ancient gates creak open, their hinges groaning with the weight of centuries. The world holds its breath as the echo of handcuffs snaps through the fog, a sound never before heard within these hallowed grounds. It is a moment both surreal and inevitable, the collision of past and present, of myth and reality. On his 66th birthday, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, a name once spoken with reverence and awe, is led away by police. The cameras flash, the world watches, and history is made. Not since the 1600s has a royal faced the cold, impartial hand of the law. The image of a prince in handcuffs is more than a scandal. It is a seismic shift in the story we tell ourselves about power, privilege, and justice. Headlines explode across the globe. Royal immunity ends. Epstein trade files released. The palace, once a fortress of silence, is now the epicenter of a storm. Even the king, the living embodiment of tradition, steps back and addresses the nation. The law must take its course. His words echo through the halls of power, signaling a new era where no one, not even royalty, is above accountability. The courtroom stands empty, yet charged with anticipation. Behind the scenes, the machinery of justice grinds forward, unmasking not just a man but an entire system built on illusion. The world waits, holding its collective breath as the trial begins, not just of a prince but of the very idea that some are untouchable. This is more than a legal proceeding. It is the unmasking of a centuries-old illusion. For too long, the trappings of royalty, crowns, scepters, and grand titles, have served as a costume, disguising the simple truth that all are equal before the law. Today, that costume is stripped away, revealing the human being beneath. Imagine the grand banquets, the glittering halls, the portraits of monarchs gazing down through the ages. These symbols once convinced us that some were destined to rule, to command, to evade the consequences faced by ordinary people. But history teaches us that every dynasty, no matter how powerful, is built on the shifting sands of belief. Belief is a fragile thing. It can be shattered in an instant, like a mirror reflecting the royal insignia. Suddenly broken, the image forever changed. Statues crumble, legends fade, and the truth emerges from the ruins. Across the world, crowds gather in public squares, their faces a mix of shock, disbelief, and hope. People exchange glances, realizing that the world they thought they knew has changed overnight. When the collective mind shifts, so does reality itself. The old order dissolves, and a new story begins to take shape. The judge's gavel falls, not just on a single man, but on an entire era of secrecy and privilege. The press surges forward, capturing every moment, every detail, as the world demands answers and accountability. Today's arrest is not just a legal reckoning. It is a turning point, a moment when the foundations of power tremble, and the walls of tradition begin to crack. The world is watching, and nothing will ever be the same. It's a psychic earthquake, an old system dissolving before our eyes, turning to sand beneath our feet. The columns of the palace, once symbols of permanence, now collapse in slow motion, reminding us that no institution is immune to change. As the legacy of secrecy crumbles, a new light breaks through the darkness. The individual, once hidden by shadow and shield, now steps into the open. The world sees not a prince, but a person, subject to the same laws, the same consequences as anyone else. The symbols of royalty, once elevated, untouchable, now rest on common ground. The crown sits on a simple wooden table, surrounded by the objects of everyday life. The message is clear. The age of divine right is over. The age of accountability has begun. The crown now sits on common ground. The line between ruler and ruled has blurred, and with it the illusion of immunity has faded. The game has changed. The king is toppled, the pieces rearranged. The changing of the guard is not just a ceremony. It is a symbol of transformation, of a society waking up to its own power. In this new age of transparency, the only true immunity is integrity. Justice is no longer a privilege reserved for the few, but a right demanded by all. The scales are clear, the process open, and the world is watching. The story of power is being rewritten page by people who refuse to be silent. Are you ready to claim your own authority? To step into the light of a new era where history is not just observed but made? This is history rewritten. The end of immunity is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a future shaped by justice, truth, and the courage to demand more. Welcome to the Validity.